Namaskar, dear devotees and friends. This Wednesday evening, we will be reading from the Gospel of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Panchama Veda, and this will be our last discussion for this session, 2021. And after 2 months, January and February, from March onwards, again we will start reading. Now let us begin as usually. Tabo kathamritam tapta jivanam kabibhiriritam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam srimadatatam bhuvi grinanti e bhurida janaha. This is that famous verse from the Gopi Gita, and it says that the nectar of words, katha amrita, amrit, that is the nectar, and katha, that the words. Why it is amrit? Because after listening to this, the human mind start thinking, then what is truly good for them, and slowly they understand the futility of this the world that we see around us. So let us begin from the page 738 of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. It was April 6, 1885. Sri Ramakrishna was on his way in a carriage to Devendra's house in Nimu Goswami Lane. The younger Naren, Aim, and 1 or 2 other devotees were with him. The master felt great yearning for Purna. He began to talk of the young disciples. So, those who know the biography of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he passed away in 1886. And 1885, almost say not even 1 year, he is thinking about the young people. Why? That we'll come to know. Because he wanted to give that, the spirituality, to these minds. He says to Master, to him, the Master Maharshaya, a great soul. He is referring about the Purna. How could he make me do japa for his welfare? But Purna doesn't know anything about it. The last in the reading we mentioned about all this, Sri Ramakrishna himself is praying to God. The God is praying to God. The God in the human form is praying to the divine. Now, him and the other devotees were amazed at these words. The Master, it would have been nice if you had brought him here with you today. Why didn't you? So the Master Maharshaya was explaining. It would have been nice, and seeing the young Naren laugh, the Master and the other devotees laughed too. The Master said to him, laughing and pointing to Naren, look at him. Look how naive he looks when he laughs. As if he knew nothing. He never thinks of these 3 things. Now, these are the very important words why he likes the young people. These are the 3 things: land, wife, and money. In Hindi they say Jameen, Joru, Chandi. Chandi means the money or the gold. Now, Jameen, the land, Jaru, the wife, and the money. These 3 things are the cause of all trouble. And these, not only the fighting and all other problem comes from these 3, these 3 binds the human mind to this worldly life. So he is telling, so God cannot be realized until the mind is totally free from the lust and gold. So this is a statement complete and clear. The God cannot be realized until the mind is totally free from lust and gold. Whoever claims that he has realized God and all this we have to see whether these two things are there in his life, lust and the gold or the money. And if these two things are there, then it's for sure that he has not realized God. Maybe he has achieved something else, but the realization of God is completely impossible. It's not many things that the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning. He is mentioning the two very important basic things that we have to understand. First is the carnal desire, the lust. If it is there in the mind, then there is no chance for God realization. Good life will be there. One can live a very nice life, but God realization is not possible. Why? As again in Hindi they very nicely put it, Jahan kaam, tahan nahi Ram. Ram means the God. If you have the desire, then you won't get the God. Jahan kaam, desire, tahan nahi Ram. There is, you cannot find the God. Jahan Ram, tahan nahi kaam. Where there is God, the one who has realized God, there is no other desire, because God is the complete fulfillment of the desire. So this one thing we have to understand. One gentleman wrote to me that more I am developing the spiritual life, more I am becoming lonely, because my relatives and the friends, they are not liking. So I am becoming lonely. That's a good sign. But at the same time, you have to, only you are becoming lonely, you are segregating yourself, but at the same time you have to develop love for God, and the whole mind will be full with love. And the worldly people, those who are constantly thinking about this worldly progress and all those things, they can never think of God. It is not possible. It is like the light and the darkness. But what we should do, once we understand these, and slowly, slowly, from that day onwards, we should try to proceed towards God. Not that in one day we will realize God, but slowly, slowly we should proceed. In the Vedanta they say, Shubhecha. The first is the good desire. What is the good desire? I am going to realize myself. I am going to realize God. I am going to understand what is this true life. So that is called Shubha, pure, holy, Ichcha, desire. So that is Shubha Ichcha, the moment we take, then Bicharana, do we go on discriminating the what is good and what is bad. This world, with all these things, are they bad? Not apparently. The people, they have their different responsibilities, nothing wrong in that. But the God realization is completely different thing. It has nothing to do with the success in the materialistic life. Nothing to do with that. Otherwise, the great, the millionaires and billionaires, they would have realized the God. No, there is nothing. The God realization is the completely different thing, and that gives a complete different type of satisfaction that you or we can never get from the worldly life. So Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning why he likes the young people, because their minds are still free from these two things, lust and gold. God cannot be realized until the mind is totally free from lust and gold. The carriage proceed to the Devendra's house. Once Sri Ramakrishna had said to Devendra at Dakshineshwar, I have been thinking of visiting your house one day. Devendra had replied, the same idea came to my mind today, and I have come here to ask you that favor of you. You must grace my house this Sunday. Friends, you may remember, those who are following this the discussion regularly, the last week, when we were reading on 22nd December, when you discussed the Panchama Veda, we discussed on that the promise. Keeping the promise is religion. I have given my word, Sri Ramakrishna said. And from there we discussed the Bachan Baddhata in Hindi. In Indian language it says, Bachan Baddhata. I have given the word, I must have to keep it. And we quoted from the Ramayana, from the Upanishad, and from the Puranas. The religion is to keep the word. And who can keep the word? Very genuine person. And that is religion. And when we can do that, that will give us the strength to control our sense organs. And when we have the capacity to control our sense organs, obviously we can be free from the two things, the lust and gold. When we are living in this life, we need food, we need clothing, we need house, we need everything. But there is no attachment or hankering for those. That is the main idea. Not that simply we have to go and kill ourselves, because without those two, without money, no one can survive. And without food, we cannot. And to get the food and other things, we need the money. That is not the question. We should not misunderstand this wonderful teaching. It is necessary, but we should not hanker for that. We should not think that is the only thing we need. No. That Sri Ramakrishna's idea, and he told Bachan Baddhata. Here also we find he told Devendra that I will visit. He just expressed his wish. And he is going to keep that. He is going over there. But he is concerned. Devendra was not a rich person. When Sri Ramakrishna used to go to the rich people, then naturally he used to invite others also to come over there, knowing that they can afford it. Feeding the other people, arranging for their seat and all those, that is possible. But the ordinary person, but Sri Ramakrishna is also going to him because his mind was pure and he loved Sri Ramakrishna, the God. But his concern when a person is going, a holy person is going because he is not having his own income or money. So naturally the person to whom he is visiting, he is supposed to arrange his to and fro, the money has to give, and some people will accompany him. So obviously you have to arrange for the food. So Sri Ramakrishna is concerned and he said, you have a small income, don't invite many people. The carriage hire will also run a big amount. Devendra had answered laughing. This is called devotee. They love the master, so obviously they don't bother about the money. He said, what? If my income is small, then he mentioned, one can run into debt to eat barter. He was mentioning, Rinang kritva gitam privet. Sometimes the people, they quote this to mention about the Charabarka philosophy. That is a wonderful philosophy, though it has been discarded by the philosophers and the followers of the spiritual life. But that was a very popular philosophy. Still it is there. The Charabarka philosophy, materialistic philosophy. Let us just go about it a little, about the Charabarka philosophy. The Charu-Baka. Baka means the word. Charu means very attractive, very beautiful. That's called Charu. And beautiful because you need not to do anything, just follow your mind. All your passions, all your desires, all satisfy everything and then go away. That's all. The people, they liked it. And there was a philosopher and there's a Brihaspati, there's a name, and the person in the Mahabharata, we find the name Charabarka, and there was another person, his name was Charbi, maybe the same person, and as because it is the knowledge goes always credit to the Brihaspati. So Brihaspati is the guru of the gods. So the people, because it was a popular philosophy, Ordinary people, they understand it. Just enjoy your life and then die. You don't know whether again you will born or not. They don't believe in that. Some people are telling, don't bother about that. There is nothing as a heaven or hell. This life is the main, so enjoy. And what should be the goal? In the Charabarka Philosophy, it says, there was a teacher named Charbi, and he developed this philosophy, so it became the Charabarka Philosophy. And if we break the word Charubaka, so it is a very attractive word, so Charu. Charabarka Philosophy, of course, if you have to be a philosophy, a darshan in India, the darshan means you have to give the answer of the three things. Many of you know, again and again I say, those three things are: who is the creator, what is this creation, and what is the relation between the creator and the creation. Here the Charabarka, the gentleman whose name was Charbi, the philosopher, he never believed in God. And what he said, there are 4 basic things are necessary for the creation. You know, traditionally India, all the philosophy, they accept the 5 basic things. That is Shiti, Apa, Tej, Marut and Vyoma. These are the 5 things. But the Charabarka said no, it is only 4. The Shiti, earth is okay. Then Apa, the water, it is okay. Then the fire, it is also Agni, it is also, and air, the Vayu, it is also okay. But not the Vyoma. Why Vyoma? Because we don't know, we don't have any idea about it, we are just thinking about it. The Charabarka accepted only the direct experience and never other things. You know, the Indian philosophy, they say pramana. Pramana you have to prove. Whatever you say, just you are telling, no, not that won't do. You have to prove it. And how we can prove? So they say there are 4 types of proofs, and some say the 3. So what are the 4 types? Pratyaksha, direct. Anumana, inference. Upamana, the comparison. And Bak, Shabda. Shabda means those who have realized this, when they say that, we can accept that. Someone went to the Himalaya, and after that when he comes back and says Himalaya is like this, we can accept that. Someone went to the sea, when he comes back from the sea and gives the description of the sea, then we accept that. That is called the one who has realized. That word is called Shabda. That is also the proof. But they said no, only 4. That earth, water, fire and air. Then where from the consciousness came? They give a wonderful example. When a tree is rotten, you get the smell. When the tree was surviving, you never got the smell, isn't it? After it died and rotten, then only you get the smell. Where from the smell came? Similarly, when these 4, this earth, water, fire and air, they get mixed up, automatically consciousness is born. This 4 creates the consciousness. And that consciousness also dies when the body dies. So this is called Charabarka philosophy. And it says, when the body is dead and destroyed, the consciousness also get destroyed. What is the goal of the life? And as we always say, the goal of life is God realization, or the Atma Jnana understanding, realizing the consciousness or the Brahman and different names. But they said no, only enjoyment. Daihik Shukha, when you are embracing each other, you get an enjoyment of the feeling. That is the goal. When you are eating, you get joy. That is the goal. That means the goal is nothing but the satisfaction of your body. body and mind. So daihik sukha, as they call daihik sukha, the comfort or the enjoyment of the body, that is the physical enjoyment, is the goal of the Charvaka. Charvaka Darshana, they said in this way, and we will conclude. Na swargo, na apavarga, ba na atma paralaukikaha, naiva varnastramadinam kriyascha phaladaikaha. It's a long, the many lines are there, the slokas, and by that way they are proving their philosophy. One time it became very popular. Then slowly people understood, no, it is not, it cannot be accepted. So they said, na swarga, there is no heaven. Na apovarga, no liberation. Why do you think about that? Oh, restraining your senses, not eating this food, not doing that thing, controlling and doing the tapasya, that austerity that we practice only to control. Why? Just enjoy whatever you like, you do, because there is no heaven. You think of heaven, it is only this life, and there is no heaven at all. No sarga, no apovarga. Don't think about the liberation. After the death, finish. There is no continuity after death. Ba na atma paralaukikaha. There is no soul that it will travel to other places, in the other region. No, there is no soul at all. The soul, the Atma, the consciousness, it generates when these four are combined. And when these four again, they are separated, you die, and the consciousness that was there within you, that also goes away. So no paralaukikaha, naiva varnasramadinam kriyascha phaladaika. In a varna and asrama, varna, Hindu, in the society, there are 4 varnas are there, because according to the capacity, they were allotted some of the work. Like the Brahmana, they are thinkers. The Kshatriya, they are protectors. And Vaishyas, they are nourishers. They will be developing the economy. And Shudras, they are helpers. So by this way, these 4, they will be constantly, that's the whole society will work in that way. And asrama, when you are a student, from 6 to 16 years, they were considered that their student life. So that is different type of thing that you have to do. Your dharma, your responsibility are different. You only learn, and that's all. Be humble, you learn, be attentive, like that. Then after that, whatever the knowledge you have acquired, utilize that knowledge, earn the money, and enjoy your life. That is called the grahastha jivan, the householder's life. Then afterwards, retirement. You go in a seclusion because your children are grown up. They are also going out to earning and they're settling down. You slowly become lonely. Prepare yourself for the final thing, because death is inevitable. Then don't go on crying, oh, children are not coming. So I used to look after them and now they are not coming to me. Don't cry of that. Prepare your mind. And after the preparation that this is going to happen, we have lost our parents and they lost their parents. So it is going to happen. This is a routine of the life. So accept that, prepare your mind and detach yourself from all the attachments, and then sannyasa. When you detach your mind from all the attachments, you are a sannyasi. And that sannyasi, that samyak nyasa, when you have given up, there is no attachment, that means there is no ego. Only thing remain is joy, the peace, the happiness, the satisfaction. So that is the 4 asrama, 4 varna and 4 asrama. They say, oh, don't bother about all those. You need not to bother, because according to those things, no result is coming out of that. So that is called the Charvaka. In brief, they have a long, big the philosophy, and the philosophy means there will be attack on that and you have to refute. The people will be there, they will be asking questions, you have to refute that, you have to prove the why you are telling like that, all those things are there. So we are not going into the details, but here in brief, this is the Charabarka. One, the philosopher is Charbi, and he was promoted by one Brihaspati, maybe the same person, and the name is there mentioned in the Mahabharata, that means he was there. It became a very popular, and goal was only to enjoy the life in this life. When the Devendra mentioned about that, Sri Ramakrishna became very amused and he became very happy, and he started, when Devendra mentioned about that philosophy, indicating Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna laughed and laughed for a long time because he enjoyed that. But we know that Sri Ramakrishna, he mentioned these, that he is totally free from attachment of land, wife and money. And the three things that entangle one in worldliness, the mind that dwells on these three cannot be fixed on God. It is impossible. So, friends, now that is the reason I always like to mention the gospel as the Panchama Veda that teaches us the spiritual knowledge, gives us the spiritual knowledge, and it is so simple way we get the complete idea. If you want to realize God, God is nothing but love and unselfishness, and God is eternal, then one thing you must have to do, that is withdrawing your attachment from this worldly life. Otherwise, there is no way. Soon the carriage reached Devendra's house. Sri Ramakrishna said to him, Devendra, don't make elaborate arrangements for my meal. Something very simple will do. I am not very well today. Sri Ramakrishna seated himself in the drawing room on the ground floor of Devendra's house. The devotees sat around him. It was evening. The room was well lighted. The younger Naren, Ram, Aim, Girish, Devendra, Akshay, Upendra, and some other devotees were present. So this was the missionary work. Whenever Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is going to some devotee's house, he is inviting other people also, and or the devotee who is organizing that. Not that only Sri Ramakrishna will go and eat and then go away. No, not like that. Sometimes, even today, the devotees will be inviting the Swamis. The Swami, please come and have some food. The Swamis don't like to go for that. The food is all right, but along with the food, they need to spread the philosophy, the ideology. So they want that the one who is inviting the Swami also invite some of his friends and relatives and the neighbors, so that they come together, at least 15-20 people, and then they will discuss. But sometimes some of the devotees, they think it is a social party, social gathering. They'll be coming, all ladies will go to the kitchen and they'll be talking over there as a, hey, why? That is not the purpose of inviting a Swami. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, from there we have learned, and that is the tradition of the Ramakrishna mission, that whenever we go to somebody's house, we always think that there will be some sort of a religious discussions, question answer, so that the people get the benefit of the presence of the Swami. Otherwise what? The Sri Ramakrishna himself, when he is going there, not only for food, he said arrange for the simple food, and then he is meeting all these people. And some of the names again and again coming, and we know that regularly they are meeting, like the Master Mahasaya and the Girish Ghosh. Why? Because they themselves were very much interested, and every time they are listening the Sri Ramakrishna, almost the same thing used to say, but they used to get the joy, because doubts is very difficult to go away. And all the attachments to the worldly things, very, very difficult to go away. So the company of the holy person is the only remedy. When a person is going and sitting near that holy person and listening to him again and again, then pondering over those teachings and practicing those, then slowly, slowly it becomes, the bondages become loosened. Otherwise it's very difficult. He is mentioning, as the master cast his glance on a young devotee, his face beamed with joy. Pointing to the devotee, Sri Ramakrishna said to the others, young people, they are not yet attached. So the Sri Ramakrishna, he knew that he is going to leave. After 1 year, he will give up his body. His mission was to kindle the light of knowledge in the hearts of those who are truly free from these three things. What are the three things? These three. He said, land, wife, and money. These three things, when they are free from these three things, then they can dedicate or concentrate on the ideology, on the philosophy, or the goal of spiritual life. So it becomes easy. Otherwise, that in the beginning of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, when the Sri Ramakrishna met Master Mahashaya, Sri Ma, he asked him, are you married? Oh, you are already married. Why? Then he explained, I saw you. Sri Ramakrishna could see the past life also. So he saw him in the group of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Already he was having the purity, and he was thinking that he will be useful to spread the message. Now, when he was married, naturally, as a married person, you have your responsibility, you have to maintain that, and that is also as because you have given the word, so that you have to maintain that too. Sri Ramakrishna was talking about the younger people because they were not attached to this. He is totally, when he saw a young boy sitting over there, he is telling, he is totally free from attachment of land, wife, and money. These three things, when they are not there, then one can become completely free and dedicated. And these three things that entangle one in worldly life. The mind that dwells on these three cannot be fixed on God. So this is very important. He saw a vision too to the devotee. Tell us, what did you see? The devotee laughing. I saw a heap of dung. Some were seated on it, and some sat at a distance. Master, it was a vision of the plight of the worldly people who were forgetful of God. When he saw the devotee, the young boy, he saw the dream, there's someone sitting on the heap of a dung. That means it is a worldly life, so much of money, so much of wealth, so much of things. But recently, I was reading in the newspaper of the India, one person, I think some few millions of rupees are there. He was hiding somewhere. He is not utilizing that. And he is himself for his own enjoyment. No, he cannot. And then again, he was not utilizing that for the betterment of others also. Then what is the use? Just he is thinking, oh, I have hidden so much of treasure. Look at it. As if sitting on the dung, and he is thinking, I am sitting on the gold, heap of gold, but only dung. So that's when that young boy, he saw that dream, Sri Ramakrishna himself explaining, he heard it before. He wanted that the devotees also should hear it, know it. And when he explained, because he was not understanding, so he was laughing and saying, I saw a heap of dung. Some were seated on it, and some sat at a distance. Bhagavan himself is explaining, it was a vision of the plight of the worldly people who are forgetful of God. Now, so much of money, I don't know how he earned, whatever may be the way he earned, if he had given it back to the society for the development of the poorer section of the society, or as a tax to the government, because government needs the money to run the whole country. So by that way he could be satisfied, and also his honor could be intact. And the society also would have said, oh, what a great personality he has. But the rich people are so much attached to their properties, to their wealth, to their gold. They will never share it, and ultimately when they die, they cannot take anything. Rather, people would tell, oh, that person, don't tell his name in the morning. You are such a miserly man. If you mention his name, that the whole day will be bad for us. Look at it. So by that way also we have to understand the attachment to the worldly things. Whatever is necessary for you, keep it. But excess, it is of no use, and it will bring the bad names, and permanently you will suffer. So Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning in that way. And it shows that all these desires are disappearing from his mind. When you see these worldly things in that way, it's a cow dung. It has nothing in it. I don't want the name, fame, physical comfort. I don't want that. That means you are giving away that and going towards God. Need one worry about anything if one's mind is detached from lust and gold? How strange! Only after much meditation and japa could I get rid of these desires. Sri Ramakrishna himself is about himself. He is mentioning that I had to practice lot of meditation and prayer and japa, repeating the holy name of God. That is called japa. So he said that I had to do so much. Then only I could get rid of that, because it is very natural. And you have to go back, you have to fight. As Swami Vivekananda very nicely he mentioned, how you have to fight with the nature. The nature will try to pull you down to react, but you have to control that. No, I am not going to do it. I am not going to listen to you. I am the master. You should obey me. The mind will always provoke. Go and react and say like this, behave like this. And naturally the other reaction will come. Again your mind is agitated. By that way so much of time is unnecessarily lost. So you have to control and calm your mind. So this Swami Vivekananda also, and here Sri Ramakrishna is telling why this agitation comes from the desire. And what is this desire? These three things: the land, then the lady, and the gold. So these are the three things usually the human being are attracted. He said wife, it is opposite to the other sex. So this is the way it goes. One must be very, very careful. Only after much meditation and japa could I get rid of these desires, and how quickly he could banish from his mind. Is it an easy matter to get rid of lust? I myself felt a queer sensation in my heart 6 months after I had begun my spiritual practice. It's really, really very, very difficult. Most of the people in the beginning of their spiritual journey, they feel, oh, why it is happening? So I think I won't be able to continue because I am so weak. I am always feeling like, it is nothing like that. That is the only desire. The last is the desire, the terrible desire that is present even in an ant and also in dinosaurs. That is the main Maya. We have to overcome that. The human mind should go on discussing within himself or herself and slowly to overcome. And in the beginning, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna himself taught, when that type of thought crosses your mind, say loudly the name of God. If necessary, clap your hand and go and chanting the name of Holy God. Then your mind will look. Mind means thought. If you are forcing another thought, then the thought that was tormenting your mind will go away. And when it goes away, again you are normal. So that is the way again and again when you are refuting, fighting against that thought which is dragging your mind down to the worldly things, then slowly that thought will become weak and it will never be able to tempt your mind or disturb your mind. So this is the way we have to understand. Mother, if it comes to that, I shall certainly cut my throat with a knife. Sri Ramakrishna was saying to the Divine Mother, that if that is there in the mind of the Sri Ramakrishna, that he himself is saying in that way, then to control those things, you can understand how difficult it is. So only prayer, prayer and prayer. To the devotee, if the mind is free from lust and gold, then what else can obstruct a man? Realization of God is inevitable. And that is the reason it is so difficult to go beyond this lust and gold. That means desire, and to fulfill the desire, money. It goes on increasing, increasing and increasing. This is the great problem. And sometimes we think that a time should come and we have to say enough, not more than this, and we have to pray to God. Otherwise, oh, I am helping the poor people, we will be building the school, we will be building the hospital, and we should do this, and go on collecting fund. Even the Swamis and they will be doing, I have to start the ashrama here, there, everywhere of the world, because I am going to save the humanity. Again another problem. Can we or anyone save the humanity? No. So as maximum possible for me, that is sufficient. Why should I have to go to every corner of the world to start an ashrama and then doing this or that? When the God, that's why Swami Vivekananda said, I never plan. I do my mother's work. When the situation is like that, okay, do it and that's all. And if it is successful, that means God is with you. If it is not, that means God is and had different idea. So no problem. So by that way, one should be completely detached. We can never ever do anything for this world, because world will go in this way. What we do, by trying to do good to others, we are actually helping our mind. I am going to help the person. No, I am going to serve a living God who is before me as an uneducated person or ailing person. I must go and serve the living gods or goddesses. I am thinking the karma yogi. When the karma yogi is thinking in that way, that means his mind is also becoming pure, because he is not thinking that an worldly object. Oh, if I go to those people, serve them, they will remember me, they will keep my image over there, photo over there, publish about me, discuss about me. If the thoughts are like that, then it is a bondage. For the same work, it is a bondage. But if you think, no, I am so blessed that I got the opportunity to serve the God. When there is no work, one will never feel frustrated. You will think, okay, the puja is over, whatever I wanted to do, I wanted to perform a ritualistic thing, I have done it. And with the living gods and goddesses, it is over. Friends, these are the things, if we constantly think, then only the detachment can come, otherwise not. So this is the topic that the Sri Ramakrishna today he is teaching us. To the devotee, if the mind is free from lust and gold, then what else can obstruct a man? He enjoys then only the bliss of Brahman. He is not telling God, he is telling the Brahman. The God is again the duality, and if you go to God, the Vedanta they say, there may be that you feel the God is loving Narada so much, and not to me in that way. Then God is showing His grace to so much to him and not to me again. Again there will be pain in the mind. Whenever there is a duality, always it will remain. And when you feel that it is only one, it is Brahman, the consciousness, there is no two, it is only me, then there is no problem. That's why he said it is Brahman. If we notice that Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, in the beginning of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, he mentioned the goal of every human life is God. Ishwar labh manushya jivaner uddeshya. In Bengali he said, God realization is the goal of every human life. God realization. Then, before he left this world, on 1st January 1886, he said, let you all be illumined with the Chaitanya Hog, that consciousness should rise within you. It is not God, Chaitanya, Chetana, the consciousness. The 1st January is coming after 2-3 days. And all over the world, the followers of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, the devotees, will be observing the Kalpataru Day. That is a very famous Kalpataru Day. We will also perform over here. And you know that this time we cannot invite the people in person. So there will be a small puja and meditation at the 3 o'clock. That is the time when Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna came down and he blessed the devotees. They say almost like 3:08, 3:10, that was the time in the noon time. We will observe that, and then we have invited the 3 Swamis to speak on 3 different aspects of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, the practices that he did, one from the Vaishnava path that he followed, and the Shakta and the Vedanta. And there is a great Swami who sings very well. He will be singing in between, interspersed by that song. So this is our program. Many of you have already received. So we will celebrate that, thinking about Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, and we will begin a new year, that is 2022. So this is the way Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is teaching us. Go to the Brahman, go to the consciousness, become one with that. Try to understand that, and there is only thing that will be there in your mind, your feeling, that is bliss. Friends, those who are connected with the Ramakrishna tradition, and if you have read Ma Sharadamani Devi, again, almost at the fag end of her life, almost the last day, and she told another lady, if you want peace, my daughter, don't find fault with others. Rather, rectify yourself. If you want, if, that is the word she used, jodi, if, shanti pete chao, if you want peace. So what is the goal of human life? Happiness, joy, peace, satisfaction, santosha, containment. So this is the goal of human life. What is God realization? Bliss, a blissful life. The Mada Sharada, she said, if you want peace, peace means this blissful life. So that is the goal. What is God realization? This. So we are having so many queer ideas about the God realization. Have you seen God? Have you realized God? Many of the people will be asking, they don't have the idea what is God, and they will be asking about that. And even if you say in whatever way, the answer, how they will understand that? Because they don't have the idea. So we should have to have a very clear idea about the realization of God. Means the ultimate source is the love, L-O-V-E, which is the contentment, that is the joy, that is the peace, that is the bliss. So there we have to reach. How? By giving up these worldly attachments. And what are the worldly attachments? Only 3. As Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning, the land and the wife and the gold. And when he was talking with mainly the male devotees, so he mentioned the wife. So this is the way we have to understand if the mind is free. Shashi had recently been visiting Sri Ramakrishna. He was studying at the Vidyasagar College for his bachelor's degree. The master began to talk about him. Master to the devotees, that boy will think of money for some time. Look at it. That's called the Bhagavan. Bhagavan knows the past. Bhagavan knows the present. Bhagavan knows the future too. For Sri Ramakrishna, we always say Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Why? Not that we follow Sri Ramakrishna and we are adding this epithet and giving to honor. Not like that. If you read his biography, you will understand all the quality that has been mentioned in the scripture about a God. It was there. And he said so simply, in the beginning, he will try to earn some money, but his mind is not there. But there are some who will never do so. Some of the youngsters will not marry. The Sri Ramakrishna, the boy about whom he mentioned over here, the Shashi, he became a monastic disciple afterwards, and his sannyasa name was Swami Ramakrishnananda. He was very fond of mathematics, and he taught also mathematics afterwards to the younger generation. This Shashi loved Sri Ramakrishna so much. And he had another brother also, Sharat, his cousin brother. Both of them, they became the great Swamis of the Ramakrishna order, direct disciples of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. And Swami Vivekananda thought that he will take the name Ramakrishna Ananda. Then after seeing his devotion to Sri Ramakrishna, he said, no, it must be Shashi that he get that name, Ramakrishna Ananda. Ananda is the joy. In the Darshanami Sampradaya, that all the sannyasis, their name is like the Swami, that he is the master of his own mind or the senses. And therefore, he is in great joy, Ananda. The beginning and the end are the same. Swami and Ananda. In between the name, Viveka Ananda, here Ramakrishna Ananda. So his joy was Ramakrishna. And tomorrow we'll be celebrating, we'll be remembering another great Swami, the direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, and Shivananda. He is like a Shiva, the auspiciousness. So his name was Swami Shivananda. Ananda, the Shiva. The Ramakrishnananda, he is the Shashi. The devotees listened silently to the master. The master, it is hard to recognize an incarnation of God unless the mind is totally free from lust and gold. He was mentioning about himself. He is giving the hints, indicating if the mind is not completely free from attachment and desire, you cannot understand a pure soul. Because they will always be judged from the point of view of yours own. And you always think that when I go somewhere, the people should give me the respect, should recognize me, and then only I'll be talking to them or become friendly with them. Because your ego prompting you. And whenever you go to some place, you are not getting that because they were meditating or they were singing bhajan, didn't pay much attention to you, there was no one, immediately go back and he says to the friends and devotee, other relatives, oh, I am not going to that temple because they don't give much attention to the devotees, etc. Nothing like that. It is your ego. You are going to God. You are not going to a particular person. You are going to a temple, a house of God. How can we expect that they will be there all the time to attain you, to give respect and attention to you? You should go and do. And whatever the humble way it is possible, then only you are a devotee. So this is Ramakrishna is mentioning, hard to recognize an incarnation of God. In the Bhagavad Gita also we find that Lord Krishna is mentioning in the same way. The people, it is impossible, that we recognize Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna as the God himself. Oh, if we could go and see him in person, etc. But there were so many people were there. They were living with him, saw him, talked to him, but couldn't recognize that he is God. Why? Because he never showed the miracles. Even sometimes the egoistic people, even when the God is showing the miracle, even that time also they won't be able to realize. Look at the life of the Lord Jesus. Look at the life of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. They showed tremendous power, miraculous power, the divine power. But even then, there were many who could not recognize that they are God. So it is only the pure heart. When the Hanumanji, the Mahavir Hanuman, he first saw the Ramachandra, he was in the human form, immediately recognized, oh, in the human form, it is that Paramatma, Parabrahma, whom I am meditating, I am praying. Immediately, he could understand. Why? He was completely free from lust and gold. Mahavir Hanuman. So this is the way Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning, is very hard to recognize an incarnation of God unless the mind is totally free from lust and gold. A man asked a sailor, now he is giving an example, how the people will be the judging the holy people. A man asked a sailor of eggplants that the value of a diamond. He was selling a diamond. And the eggplant sailor, he told, I can give you 9 shades of eggplant in exchange, not one more. It was a diamond. But this fellow, the eggplant sailor, how he will understand the diamond, the cost of the diamond? So he was thinking that I can at the best, because it is bright, so it is okay, I can keep it. And I may give it to my the children to play. Well, in exchange I can give you this much of the eggplants, not more than that. So understand, at these words all the devotees laughed, and young Naren laughed very loudly. And Sri Ramakrishna noticed that, and he had quickly understood the implication of these words. Sri Ramakrishna gave the example of an eggplant sailor who could not understand the value of a diamond. That means the ordinary people were constantly thinking about the worldly objects, how they can recognize a spiritual person. He understood. Why? This young boy, his mind was pure. The whenever Sri Ramakrishna mentioned that, immediately he understood. The Sri Ramakrishna mentioned what a subtle mind he had. Nangta also could understand things that way. Nangta means his own guru. But still he is mentioning that about that in a flash. The meaning of the Gita and the Bhagavata and other scriptures is really, really very difficult. Thank you, friends. We will stop over here. It's the 740 page number, and we will again start reading from this from the month of March. Any questions are there?
Sanita is asking a 2-part question. She is saying, please tell us how to avoid bad neighbors residing near our house. That is our first question. How to avoid bad neighbors residing near. And the second question is, how can
if you develop the patience, then you don't bother about the bad neighbors or the people who are disturbing you. So, this is sometimes it is the challenges. It's very difficult to say how, but we as a spiritual people, we can say, please pray to God, let their mind turn. It is the human mind only. They are not having good relation with you, or it's only thoughts. And if you pray to God, maybe the miracle will happen, then they will start liking you. Their thoughts will be positive about you. All problems will be solved. And when you are praying for them, your patience are increasing. This is the only way. Thank you. Thank you, friends. I think there is no more questions. Friends, before I conclude, I like to show you as a beautiful calendar that every year we publish one calendar on a theme that is dedicated to some idea. This time it is American women. I think I spoke about it to you. This is the American women that is we have dedicated to those who helped Swamiji in his work. You can imagine when he came over here, there was no one, not a single Indian over here, no idea of India. And when these ladies, they all came forward to help Swami Vivekananda. And now that some millions and millions of Indians are living in this country in America, and the beautiful relation that the India and America now is having, that is because of Swamiji and because of these ladies who helped him. So this is we have given the details of them, the picture of theirs, at the same time our programs. So if you like, online you can place order and you can purchase and you can preserve it. Thank you very much. Let us chant this mantra and we conclude. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Rama Krishnam shirasa namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.